보니까 사람들 are getting to our own, Give me respect. Make it a night. No fake it, we just take it.
What's good with it, y'all? So today I got a reaction to Whack 100, pretty much trying to be the mediator in between SpoetyFace and DcBabyDraco. Now, the reason I wanted to do this reaction is because they're going back and forth on DcBabyDraco's charges. Let me just give you a quick rundown. So DcBabyDraco got arrested for pimping and pandering on a minor. In the paperwork, one of his charges was pimping and pandering on an alleged minor and on an adult, plus a few other charges, right? So he ended up just pleading to the adult pimping and pandering. The juvenile pimping and pandering somehow ended up not getting dismissed, but because he took a deal, they ended up just dropping some charges. Now, what they're arguing about is, right, what SpoetyFace is trying to tell DcBabyDraco that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he didn't plea out to that, if what he initially took a deal for, it doesn't have anything to say about pimping and pandering on a minor. He didn't have to go on Megan's Law or anything like that. But SpoetyFace is pretty much trying to say that just by him getting charged with that in the beginning, he's trying to say that there's some type of truth there. Now, let's hear what they have to say about it, and then I'm going to give you guys my full reaction. Then you guys can let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let's get into it, man. So this is the part when Whack is barely about to bring up that part. Let's go.
Hey, bro, you know, coming from where you come from, this life you live, we ain't promised tomorrow. You need to cut that shit out.
I ain't cut nothing out. But
You not promised tomorrow.
I ain't
You never know what'll happen,
what's
bro.
What's up with two of these allegations?
Yeah, no, let's talk about that. I went over.
So listen, first and foremost, I'm gonna get straight into it, and then I'm gonna get out the way. You can explain to the people. So the paperwork that I seen is for sure real. It's not fake. It's
real.
not falsified or doctored up or doctored up in any way, shape, fashion, and form. So if you allow me to speak, I'm gonna give you the whole hour.
Shout out,
you
Kid
can do it
Your shit.
yourself or whatever the case is. But let me land and let me draw my point. And this is why I came to my conclusion that so it's been established. Correct me if I'm wrong. That the paperwork is real, it hasn't been falsified, all the numbers add up, and all this, that's, and the third. So boom. So when I came to my conclusion, it is because we've been through these stoops. We done did prison time, multiple numbers, multiple times, even juvenile hall, all the way to YA to go sent to prison and stay out state. So anybody know with this county jail or this prison system, period, it's three things how a case can go. A dismissal is when they have no evidence or like they have any type of evidence.
Yep, that's true.
That's how you get an flat right out dismissal. It's a lack of evidence, so they give you either DA reject, which is
Or dismissal.
It's a dismissal. That's considered a dismissal. But a dismissal is when you have the lack of evidence. So a plea agreement, 90% of the time when people accept or take a plea bargain or ask for a plea bargain, that's when it's either overwhelming evidence or they know if I lose, there's a chance that I can lose in
That's
trial.
when you don't want to roll the ball.
Banged out.
That's a fact. Now that right there is somewhat of a fact. When people take pleas, it's because you know it's like, I don't know. I don't want to take it all the way to the box and lose. So you take a plea bargain. All right? He's cooking.
So with the plea agreement, this is how everybody did. A lot of people that go back and forth, we all took plea agreements. We know how this goes. So you're like, man, they got me on camera, they got this, and da-da-da-da-da.
And we know what we did and didn't do.
Exactly my point. So I'm gonna come back to that one. My last one. is an acquittal. The only way you can get an acquittal is you take it to the
Take it
box.
to the
You
box.
You flat out beat it.
Okay, so that's the 3.
You accepted a plea bargain. I don't know how many exactly.
So that's the 3. He's saying it could only go 3 ways. Either it gets dismissed, there's not enough evidence, right? Or you take a deal because you know what I mean, you're not necessarily all the way there. Or you go to trial all the way, you take it to the box, and you get an acquittal. Okay?
The charges was, but, so if you have, say for instance, 7 or 8 charges, and you plead out to 1 or 2, that doesn't, that don't, listen, no, nigga, I'm gonna say what, that does not mean, listen, no, I don't go fuck, listen, that does not mean that you wasn't guilty. Just because you took a plea bargain for charge 10 doesn't mean that you wasn't guilty from 1 through 9. That's a fact. Tell me that I'm wrong. Listen,
You find a nigga guilty when they...
Listen.
Spoty, you find a nigga guilty when the DA say they...
Man, listen,
I'm listening.
You gotta understand my point.
I'm listening. You know bro tripping.
No, I'm not tripping.
Go ahead.
Listen.
Go ahead.
So when you charge with multiple charges, the only time you're gonna accept the plea bargain when you feel like you can't win. They got to it like nobody's gonna accept the plea bargain when they're flat out innocent or they don't have no evidence supporting them charges.
Now watch this. We got 3 niggas in the dead time.
No, I'm talking to him first and then let you let it's the allegations on him. So
DcBabyDraco, let's see.
I say what happens.
I'll speak afterwards.
I hear what he's saying.
First off, if you look at the charges, look at all the little shit that the nigga been charged with. One of the charges that was on there, I pled out to. So that is not a plea agreement. You basically trying to make it. You keep trying to say.
What did you plead out to?
I pled to adult pendering. Okay. I've been charged with that from the gate.
Now let me ask you a question. Right? I know you done did some time. Have you ever been in a situation where you didn't have dope, gun, or multiple shit, and they didn't kept them at you with a deal, and you didn't turn the deal down? I know I have. I know you have, because you done been in for some shit too. You ain't none of our year just took the first deal they came out of.
Robberies. Nothing.
But, so when they come at you with the first one, and you didn't feel like, nah, did you take it or did you shoot it down?
Man, my boy Wack just trying to cover it up.
When they came at you with 7 robberies.
And let me just say, man, that I ain't reacting this to bash anybody or anything like that. I just really, I'm curious about this right here, right? Because there's certain hudas that they'd try to hit you with the book. I've been with a homie, right? And I'm going to give you this as an example. There was a homie that got caught up for selling dope. And when they raided his house, he ran to the bathroom, was trying to flush some. He stuffed a paper roll, a toilet paper roll. He stuffed the middle with some dope, trying to hide it. It was a brand new paper roll. You know how they got the paper and stuff? So he stuffed some in there, trying to hide it, hoping they weren't going to find it, right? They find it. But not only did they hit him with intent to sell and distribute and stuff like that, with tampering with evidence and all that, they also hit him with a child endangerment. Because they said that at the level that toilet paper was, since he had, I believe, like a 4-year-old or 5-year-old, they said that 4-year-old or 5-year-old could have walked in the bathroom and grabbed that toilet paper roll. So just due to that, they try to hit him with child endangerment. It didn't stick. It didn't stink because it's not like if they were doing it like maliciously, you feel me? It was just a quick act, trying to hide it real quick. Boom. But that's an example of how these hudas will do people dirty. They'll do people dirty and just put extra charges, see what sticks. Now, is that this situation? I don't know. You feel me? When it comes to anything that has to do with minors and pimping and pandering and stuff like that, you guys just seen that new indictment that just came down about the minors on Fig. You feel me? People don't play about that. And I feel where SpoetyFace is coming from. You feel me? And homeboy just, he don't understand it. He's telling them, if you get charged with 10 things, but you only plead out to 8 and 9 charges, 8 and 9, which is only 2 charges out of the 10, doesn't necessarily mean that you're not guilty of the other ones. You feel me? I feel like that's what he's trying to say. It's like, look, bro, maybe you played out to this because they were like, fuck it. Hey, we don't have enough evidence to get you on this, but this, we kind of do. Plead out to this because at the end of the day, all we want is a conviction. So that one's up in the air, you feel me? So I feel where he's coming from. You know, and anybody in that situation, right? If he was a homie, even a Southsider, anywhere he went, just based on that popping up in his stuff, he has some explaining to do. You feel me? So I feel where he's coming from. Let's keep going.
And they talk about, I'm just doing 15, 20. And you like, no, I'm not taking that. And 6, 7 months later, as time went on or whatever, they said, all right, we got 4 of them on the table for 8. Nigga, you never turned down a deal?
The one, nigga, I understand what you're saying, but
I
the
never
one
turned
thing,
one
listen,
down.
I'm not pleading guilty to nothing that I know that if they don't have no evidence on me, I'm like, I know I got that beat. What are you talking about with these? I'm not pleading guilty to nothing for them to dismiss anything that I know that they have no evidence of. That's why I'm saying, understand what I'm saying. Because what you said, you sounded crazy right now.
How?
Because, listen, why the fuck, if they don't have no evidence, clearly, this is a fact, he was charged with this. I don't care about what he pled out to. He was charged with pimping and peddling on a minor, tampering with witness, and all this. So what I'm saying is, why would you ever plead out to something? Because he didn't get a dismissal on them charges. They dismissed it due to the plea agreement.
Blueface had an attempted murder.
You don't understand what I'm saying?
On
different.
camera, blicking. I paid for these attorneys.
That's different.
That's a whole different.
When you plead down, that's different.
Discharges firearms in city limits.
Of course,
That's
because
different.
You paid out to get something less because you know if you went to trial, what he was going to get.
Exactly, that's different. Like, say, for example, me. When I was fighting my case as a juvenile, my initial case was attempted murder. It was an attempted murder case, carried 25 to life. I ended up taking a deal for assault with a firearm. It's a lesser charge. You feel me? So that's different. Like he said, the crime that he pled out to was one of the counts that he was already pretty much indicted for, that he had already got picked up for. So I see where he's coming from. You feel me? Just because you pled out to these 2 charges doesn't mean that the other charges wasn't not true. Just by them being there alone, it's kind of bad. So I feel like it would have to be up to what it says in the paperwork. Like, why did they even pick up those charges to begin with? What evidence that they have in the beginning that led them to put that charge on him? That's what you need to be looking into. You need to look into the police report, because it's going to say that in the police report. The police report, however they wrote it up, what was their basis on picking up those charges, and then you'll get a better understanding. I feel like, because if I was there in that building and there's a homie coming in with those charges, right, and I had to go through this with one of the homies that he was a juvenile and he got oral copulation in public, he was getting some head in public, he was a juvenile, the female was a juvenile, security or off-duty Hura rolled up and seen them and called the Huras. They were like at a vacant building, and the security that would go around that building caught them, called the Huras, and they charged them with oral copulation in public. The penal code, I forgot what exactly was the penal code, but it came out under a sex crime. But when you read the actual police report, the paperwork, what the female said on the police report, the transcripts and all that, you see that they were both minors and he was just getting some head. You know what I'm saying? So you really, really have to do your homework and stuff like that. And it's sad that some people, they won't do the homework. Like, hey, you got charged with this? Like, hey, you know what I mean? You somebody else's problem. Like, let's get rid of them. Like, we'll ask questions later. Boop out, boop out, boop out. Either they're going to take off on him or they're going to make him go on a holler. First thing smoking, he's somebody else's problem now. Now, let's keep going.
Huh? What you mean,
Did
less
you
what?
get something less?
I was OR. If
So
you
he
look
go
at
to
the paper,
that.
I'm OR.
Yeah, sex offense. I said sex offense is not considered.
He not on Megan's law. I looked
No,
at
what it is, because of course, because he pled out and he dropped the rest of the charge. That's why he took it.
That's not a plea, bro. That is not a plea.
You took a plea,
How do you, bro?
So how
listen,
much
bro,
charges?
I've been doing this jail shit too, bro. I've been doing jail. I'm 30 years old. I've been going to jail since I was 18, bro.
All right, so answer the question
taking a
then.
plea.
Answer
If you
the
look
question
at the
then.
charges, listen, bro. If you look at the charges, it's both smut charges. It's both smut charges and pandering charge. If the regular pandering wasn't on the charge and it was all smut charges, and you take a plea out of all 4 smut charges, that's taking a plea. I pled out to a charge that was on there. What are you talking about?
What
I
happened
don't
to
get it.
the what happened to the other
You don't even know the case. You don't even know if an adult was on the case. You don't even know the case.
I don't want to argue, dog. I don't
They had to dismiss them. Where they go? If they don't give them to you, they gotta dismiss them.
They didn't dismiss it. They only dismiss it due to him taking that plea bargain. That's
How they did dismiss them, but they only dismiss them.
That's a fact.
You know what's crazy?
Listen, they didn't dismiss him because it was insufficient evidence. They dismissed what I'm saying. They dismissed the rest of the charges because he pled out to that charge. Dropped the rest of
Why would the DA allow that?
You intimidated the little girl, or whatever the case, and got her up out of that.
It's persuading the witness to charge.
Hell yeah.
Is that a strikeable offense?
Yeah, I call
Is
that.
that a strikeable
I
offense?
call what it is.
Exactly. Persuading the witness is a strikeable offense, bro. Why didn't you get no strike?
They're the charge.
Why did you get that charge?
Because you
If it was clearly...
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Again, for the 100th time, they dropped the rest of the charges because you pled out to that.
But you don't know my case. You don't know if a dog... You don't know if a...
So let me ask you something. Hold on, we on the yard, right? Hold on,
You don't even know my case.
It's so minus.
We on the yard, right?
It is what
We on the yard. Look, we both down moves. SpoetyFace hit the yard, right? Hold on, wait.
Nigga, what clout? Nigga, ain't no clout from the side. Heavy in the streets. I don't know. You don't got no clout, nigga.
You weren't worried about me.
I'm not worried about
You
me.
weren't worried about me.
Man, I'm not worried about
Hold on, 1
you.
second.
Worried about me.
Because
I'm not worried about you, bro.
I'm not worried about you. Bring it
I'm
down.
not worried about you at all.
Bring it
You
down.
weren't worried about my
Bring it
case.
I'm not worried about you.
So
I
listen
beat
to me.
him. I
Hold
don't
on,
fuck
bring
with
it
you.
down. Bring
I
it
beat
down.
him.
So
I
look,
beat
we
him.
on the yard. SpoetyFace.
I feel him. Me personally, man, straight up, and like I said, this ain't a bash anybody. This is for educational purposes only, right? And I felt like when it comes to this right here, you would have to read the police report, what was exactly how it's worded, why they even picked up those crimes to begin with, what the victim statements were at the time. Because sometimes if they talking about, oh, he was trying to persuade a witness and stuff like that, maybe they had a few different females. The underage one just didn't want to cooperate at the end. They couldn't really get them with it. And the only one they were able to get them with is the one that they really, really had enough evidence with. I don't know, man. I don't know. That does kind of seem kind of up in the air. We would have to get more information on it, though. But let me know what you guys think on this situation, man. Is they trying to selective politic, Wack trying to speak up for them and throw it under the rug, sweep it under the rug? SpoetyFace is he chasing clout? Me personally, I feel like he kind of has a point, especially when it comes to stuff like that. Why'd they even pick up a case like that to begin with? And like he said, he pleaded out to a count that he had since the beginning. So he pled it out to that case. That means that that case was never dropped. they never lessened the charges. He just took a plea for a certain charge and they dropped the other charges, is what I'm getting from it. It's your boy Santo G, man, real raw and uncut. Let's go.
We got our own pretty strong people finally getting into our own, you know?